Hey guys, Chris here from Carolot Farm. So glad to have you with me. Today, not only is it snowing, but we are expecting super cold temperatures heading our way, and we have lots to do here on the farm to get everyone and everything ready. So today, again, it's just a few flurries. It's not a big deal. The ground is still really wet and mucky though from thawing after Friday's snow. And so I'm actually looking forward to the frozen ground just because it won't be so gross and muddy everywhere. And that's the one, I guess, silver lining to really cold temperatures is you don't have to deal with the muck. Just like I did the other day, I'm gonna feed Sweetheart under the shelter just because it takes her a while to eat. She'll be happier. And that way I can give Snuggles her hay and handful of grain back in the run-in. So today is similar, but a little different just because of the weather. Because the ground is getting so just muddy and gross everywhere, I'm beginning to have to feed the boys farther down the fence line just to get them out of the mud. Now, being young, impatient, and just a little exuberant at times, they have a tendency to paw, which doesn't help the situation. You know, after they finish their feed, they start pawing and licking the tub, and before you know it, there's a giant muddy mess. But that is the primary reason that we've had to move farther down. The ground is just so soft though, because again, it's that time of year. So I am looking forward to the freeze just for a little reprieve. Because we have done a good job establishing our routine, I want to go ahead and make sure that I lock Sweetheart's normal gate. I don't want her to run in here and then, you know, have any sort of confusion. So I'm going to make sure I lock this. And that way the only gate that is open as an option is really at Snuggles' feedlot. But again, today we're going to feed Sweetheart here in the black tub to kind of get her out of the snow, and then Snuggles will eat in the back run-in where it's dry. Now Snuggles here is waiting so patiently, so I'm going to step inside. I'm going to hand her her little bite of breakfast and then get some hay for everybody. I have a couple of big tasks today that I need to tackle in preparation for the cold that's coming and the ice that's inevitable. And part of that is making sure that all of my black mats have a little bit of old hay kind of sprinkled on top like you see here. I might even put a little more down. As I clean the stalls, I'll just put some more out here on the mats. The hay is going to help give us traction after it kind of ices over and sticks to the black rubber. That way it won't be a slick sheet of ice. You know, we're still getting some drippage from the roof above, and although it is going to freeze and the dripping will stop, what's on the ground is already going to be really slick, and it's just not going to dry today because, as you can see, there's not any warm sunshine, and this is the warmest it's going to be right around freezing. So that's one thing I have to do, and just do a few other like pre-ice preps. So I'll kind of let you know what those look like as I go about them. This particular puddle here, I'm going to want to try to sweep off as much of that standing water as I can that is underneath the hay, and then sprinkle hay on top again for traction. But we don't want that puddle there because that is going to definitely be a very slick spot. Here's a look at that puddle I was telling you about. You know, it really does collect quite a bit of water. So I'm going to sweep it away, and then we'll cover it back up with some more hay for traction. I'm really happy that I have time today to really prepare the horses and our facility here for the snow and the ice. It's not going to be much snow, it's going to be just a little, but it's more the ice that has me concerned. I like the frozen ground because it's not muddy, but that can be a little harder on their hooves, the horses' hooves. And then the ice can be treacherous for both horse and human. I mean, they can slip on it, I can slip on it. So taking time today to really make sure that everything is as prepared as possible so there aren't any surprises or injuries is a really important thing. I'm gonna sweep that puddle, and then I need to clean the stalls and get hay spread out, and then everyone should be in pretty good shape. Our water troughs back behind me here, the red one, has a de-icer in it, and I want to show you because there's a little red de-icer that I've been really happy with, and that's been working well so far. My young guys have taken to chewing on the fence boards this winter. They have plenty of food to eat. There's not much grass, obviously, but they always have hay. Their bellies are full. They're not hungry, I promise. Maybe bored. They need a job to do, but they have been chewing on my boards, which is a little unfortunate because earlier this summer, we painted all of these black boards around the rest of the barnyard, and they've just totally chewed all the black paint off the top of the board, which is a little silly, a little irritating, but young horses will do what young horses do. I have found that this little red de-icer works really well, and it also clips onto the side of my water tubs. It's been perfect, but I do need to fill the buckets to keep the water well above the heating element. I've just finished cleaning this first stall, and you can see I have spread some of the old hay that was in there on that far mat, and then we swept the puddle out that was on the second mat, so this stretch is looking much better. I want to go do the same though to the back. I have more mats by the hay barn that I definitely want to spread a little hay on top of, and then I think we'll be good as far as traction goes. So let me go do that now. The boys have been very patiently waiting for me to finish cleaning the stall and shaking out their hay. So here they come. I imagine they're going to head right on up and enter that stall. You can still see that pile of wet hay right there in front of Rocky. I still need to go and scoop that up and take it to the back. If you feed hay, loose hay out in your field like I do, you'll also find remnants of uneaten hay out here. Sometimes, if you have super tender hay, your horses might eat every single piece. But if it has any extra stem to it, sometimes you'll find that out in the field, and you can just scrape it up like I have here, because I want a little extra hay for that traction. I'll show you. Over here by my hay barn, there's one mat in front of the stall, sorry, not the stall, the hay barn doors. I've already covered that. But there's another mat that sits just to the side there, and I want to put some straw or hay there for traction as well, because the horses walk back there and I don't want for them to slip. That's not an area that I travel very often. I really just come and go right in front of the hay barn doors, but I don't want for anyone to slip on any of our mats on any part of the farm. I'm feeling much better now that both of these mats have been covered. And now the last thing I want to do is check on the water trough in this back paddock for Sweetheart and Snuggles. I unfortunately don't have a trough heater for this one. And so I will have to just make sure that I come out multiple times a day, break ice, and I'll probably even start, I just got a snowflake in the eye. I will probably even start to bring them warm buckets of water as well, just as an option, because even after I break the ice, that's still going to be super, super cold water. And some horses just don't drink as much when it's cold. And I want to make sure everyone's drinking, because again, that's vital for their health. I don't know if you've ever tried using a frozen shank before, but they're not very flexible. So I'm taking my lead rope here, my neck shank, whatever you like to call it, and I'm going to hang it on the barn hook, and that way it will hopefully stay relatively dry and not become a frozen, icicle. Usually I leave them out on the feedlot gates because I use these ropes twice a day to turn the horses back out after they're done. But because I know the ice is coming and things are likely to get wet and frozen, I am going to leave it right here on the barn. On a cold day such as today, there are several things you want to make sure that you have in place for your horses. And the first one I'm going to say is make sure that everyone has plenty of hay to eat. The hay, of course, is going to be filling. It's part of what's going to keep their bellies, warm and content, but it also helps to warm their bodies as they digest the forage. So hay is very important. Water. Make sure your water isn't frozen, because your horses must have access to water to help keep their digestive systems and everything running as they should. And one more thing I should note, on a cold day such as today with potential winter weather, we don't know how long this will hang around, you want to make sure you have plenty of grain. Of course we have plenty of hay in the hay barn, but I was running low on my hay pellets, and so my husband has run to town to get some while I get everyone squared away. I've just finished picking and spreading. When it gets really cold, again, snow is bombarding me. When it gets really cold, you really can't spread your manure. And so today is probably one of the last chances I'll have for the next few days. So, again, do what you can when you can. And after this cold snap is over, I'll be back to picking on the regular. But I imagine the next couple of days, everything will be so frozen to the ground that I won't really be able to pick like I usually do. I should clarify a little. I can still pick the stalls. It won't be frozen in there, but our paddocks and turnouts and such, all of the manure will be frozen really hard. And after a super cold night down in the teens, I definitely won't be able to do much picking. So that's what I meant by the next few days. I won't be picking the paddocks. I'll still pick the stalls though, because
The horses will certainly trash them, but not the paddocks. That's really about all I have to do around the farm today. Everyone has hay for the daytime hours. Troughs are looking good because, again, it's still above freezing, or it's right at that hovering freezing mark. But as the afternoon progresses, it's going to definitely start getting colder. And by nightfall, I expect we'll have some ice in this back trough. So I'm going to feed everyone probably an early dinner, give them plenty of hay tonight. And like I told you, start bringing warm water out here for Snuggles and Sweetheart. Still snowing. It's about 11:30 right now in the morning, and everything is turning white. Shenanigans has come to say hi. I just brought them a little more water. I'm working on topping off that red tub there. And he's just come over to see what I'm up to.
The fact that it's continuing to snow all day is not at all what we had expected. We thought it would be a little dusting and it would transition to a freezing rain, but it is still snowing. It is such a surprise.
It's early afternoon. I've just come down to check on the horses. The trough here in the back, I was telling you this morning, does not have the de-icer in it. And so I can see that the slush is beginning to accumulate. So when I come back out in maybe another hour or so, I'll probably bring a bucket of hot water to pour on top just to keep that slush from wanting to freeze solid. And again, all throughout the afternoon, evening, we'll keep checking on the trough. We'll break ice when need be, but it's definitely getting colder out here. These icicles just caught my eye because it was above freezing earlier today. We had some melting from the roof above here. And as it's been getting colder, we have some really fun icicles here that have formed. The icicles have also formed all along the fence here. And again, it was just the snow on top that was melting. And now we have this little winter wonderland with snow and icicles. Little Snuggles and Sweetheart are coming out of the run end to say hi. Here's a look at that trough. You can see those 3 indentations. I can almost bet you that's from where one of the mares here has kind of stuck their nose down into the slushy water. So I definitely want to get some warm water out here before too long to kind of help keep everything from freezing too solid just yet. I can't do but so much after the sun goes down and we go to bed, but during the daytime hours, I will do my best. You can see here though that our little red de-icer is doing an excellent job. I ended up not scrubbing and filling the other trough. It was just so cold this morning, but I will make sure to keep this one good and full for the horses. It's about 3:30 right now, and I've just brought down my 2 buckets of warm water. You can see them here. I'm gonna slip inside so that I can pull them under the fence, dump them into that slushy trough. But what was supposed to just be an itty bitty little dusting has been an all-day event so far. We've got a few inches, not too much, but considering we don't usually get a ton of snow here in central Virginia, this has been a pretty good snow day. I just checked the temperature and it says it's only about 30 degrees, which really isn't that cold, but there's a bit of a breeze blowing, so that coupled with the snow, it's actually really cold out here. You can see where in the last 2 hours since I was last out here with you, they have continued to kind of poke their nose through the slush. I think the warm water is going to help, but Sweetheart here and Snuggles, they're hoping that I have dinner, so they might be a little disappointed when they see it's just water. That warm water did a good job of melting the majority of that slushy ice that was beginning to form, so I'll bring another few buckets out before dark. You can see me and the cats are taking the same path from the barn to the house.
Thank you so much for joining me today as I worked around the farm to get the horses and the facility all ready for this polar vortex that is heading our way. As you can see throughout the day, we got a lot more snow than we had expected. That was a surprise. It's still snowing. But check back soon because we'll definitely have updates and let you know how everyone is doing as we navigate this second storm of the season. Stay warm, stay dry, stay safe, and we hope to see you in the future. Bye, guys.